Coming to our senses, sensory play in the early childhood classroom. Hi, my name is Diane Stoddard and I'm a graduate student at Texas A&M University Commerce. As an early childhood educator, I strongly believe in enriching a child's environment with hands-on and multisensory learning. In my study, I wanted to learn how sensory play looks like in the classroom and what are the perceptions of sensory play. My main question was, what is the practice and perceptions of sensory play in the early childhood classroom? My two sub-questions were, what kind of sensory activities do teachers include in their classroom, and what research has been conducted on sensory play? I gathered excellent professional literature. I learned that sensory play is the act of sensory exploration of objects and the environment, time spent in manipulating objects either alone or with others, and it helps develop imaginative play, manipulation, social interaction, and fine motor skills. Piaget and Montessori were pioneers of sensory play. Piaget developed the theory of learning development that acknowledged the young child's need to touch, feel, and manipulate objects in the environment. Montessori voiced first the education of the senses, then the education of the intellect. Providing a sensory diet with an adequate amount of sensory-based activities help learners meet their sensory threshold throughout the day. Because everyone has unique encounters to various sensory stimuli, we have to understand that everyone experiences sensory interactions differently, and the more we expose ourselves to multisensory experiences, the more our learning, thoughts, and creating patterns for problem solving will grow and become deepened. In my methodology, I included qualitative and quantitative data. First, I interviewed 3 early childhood teachers and asked them questions about sensory play in their classroom and their views about it. I also gathered published photography of sensory play environments. I thought this would give my research a great visual of sensory play in action. Quantitative data were graphs that represented demographics and results of the subjects who participated in a research study that gathered information about whether engaging in a sensory play activity with fruits and vegetables can encourage tasting new foods compared to a non-food activity or visual exposure to the activity. My data findings prove that young children learn about the world through their senses and use them to discover new information by connecting past experiences with their body's senses. Sensory play encourages children to develop cognitively, socially, and emotionally. During sensory play, teachers have an important role by facilitating and adapting sensory activities and resources to their children's sensory needs. Here is a picture of children using their tactile senses by playing in the shaving cream. All of the teachers I interviewed provided sensory opportunities and thought it was necessary on a regular basis. They also had children who had sensory processing issues and needed accommodations during sensory play. In my quantitative data findings, you can see that the sensory play food group who had visual and tactile sensory play exposure of the fruit and vegetables were much more likely to try other fruits and vegetables that were later offered to them compared to the other 2 controlled groups. Almost everything we experience about the world and ourselves comes through our senses. So we can say that sensory play is a crucial part of an early childhood education and should be encouraged in any aspect of the classroom. Luckily, most sensory materials and resources are readily available and can be used in almost any environment. Given the appropriate sensory environment, children can be imaginative and express confidence while learning. Observing the children's social, emotional, intellectual, and physical development during sensory play can enhance their learning experience as a whole because teachers can familiarize themselves with their students' sensory needs and learning style and provide an environment that benefits everyone. I want to end my presentation by saying the essence of sensory experiences can enhance the child's learning environment and the development of the child as a whole. It is essential to allow children to experience the world through their senses, to encourage understanding of their bodies and learning styles.